Dear friends, I'm glad to welcome you to my channel, and today we will continue the topic of informing the capabilities of the PRK-1U device, a device from the class of artificial intelligent devices. I remind everyone who is already familiar with this information and inform everyone who hears about it for the first time that there is currently such an opportunity to test the PRK-1U device for free. Grigori Grabovoi provides a free 48-hour trial testing of the PRK-1U online. Anyone can join this trial testing. To sign up for a preparatory class before the trial testing, leave your applications by email that you can see right now on the screen. You can also address your questions to this email address, elenadagons@gmail.com, or ask them during the preparatory class. In this preparatory lesson, you will be told how to work on the PRK-1U device, what are the operating modes on the device, what are the methods, and so on. In the first part of this short video, you will learn that the device was created and works according to the principle of human consciousness. In the second part, you will get acquainted with the information about how and why the PRK-1U is configured individually for a specific person. In the third part, I will introduce you to the testimony of one of Grigori Grabovoi's students, and at the same time, she is the teacher of Education Center, and she was one of the first to be tested on the device when the testing was conducted by Grigori Grabovoi himself. So, in the last video, we touched upon the question that working on the device, you interact with the matter of eternal life, which is created, generated by the device PRK-1U, and that you are learning to maintain the state of eternal life in yourself. In this video, I would like to focus on this once again, but as if from a different angle a little bit. So, once again, the device constantly generates a form of information corresponding to eternal life. The concentration of this form of information is very high. A person who comes into contact with the device by free will learns to create in consciousness an exact form of information of eternal life of high concentration, so that later consciousness creates this concentration of eternal life always independently, without the help of the device. Therefore, when working with the device in the mode of controlling forecasting, such a goal is provided to develop consciousness and spirit with the help of the device so that it will be possible to do without the device in the future, using only developed spirit and consciousness. The fact is that consciousness initially has the potential to create this type of concentration, the concentration of eternal life. But due to the lack of necessary logical knowledge, this potential hasn't yet been realized. Grigori Grabovoi created the device in such a way that the device acts as a living organism. That is, the mechanism of functioning of the device for creating information is identical to the mechanism of functioning of human consciousness. That's why it's possible to train consciousness with the help of the device, because consciousness, when in contact with the device, comes into contact with it, understands. Therefore, consciousness can learn from the device to independently implement what already exists initially in consciousness. That is, working with the device, this is not working with external information. When working with the device, consciousness works with itself. This is the same as, for example, a person learns to do something with the help of the physical body, to walk, to dance, to swim, etc. Yes, a person looks at other people, adapts their experience, but does physical actions with the help of his own body. No one for a person can do the right physical actions with his body. The same refers to consciousness. With the help of the device, you can train any useful qualities of our consciousness, self-control, self-discipline, and so on. The device in this case doesn't impose anything on us. A person creates the form of information for the purpose of control in his mind himself. A person decides for himself what personal qualities he wants to develop in himself. But when a person thinking over his goals simultaneously concentrates on the device helps to strengthen the concentration of the control goal, which doesn't contradict the goal of eternal harmonious development. And thus, consciousness can realize positive qualities in itself in a short time, making minimal efforts for this. That is, the device works as an accelerator of the evolution of the human personality. In 2017, in an interview with German journalist Michael Vogt, Grigori Petrovich revealed details of such information, how the PRK-1U is configured individually for a specific person. When setting up the device for a specific user, Grigori Grabovoi uses his ability of controlling clairvoyance. That is, initially, he looks at the fact how the future interaction of a particular person with the device will take place. Grigori Grabovoi says, quote, "In this case, it's possible to say that I consider the interaction, firstly, of the level of eternal life that exists at the birth of a person with the device. I examine, scan, what development happens in the future when we have been working independently for some time, and it turns out that this level, a certain sphere of eternal life, which exists in a person at birth, depending on its segments, somehow manifests itself in different parts of the body. That is, for example, a sphere concentrated in the area of the lumbar spine. Further, the light from this sphere passes through the body, and I begin to connect geometrically the matter of eternal life that the device generates with what comes from the primary level of human birth, that one which comes from God, as created by God. Further, when these lights come together, coincide, it turns out that this particular plan for the docking of this light of eternity coming from a person and from the device, this is a special task that requires controlling clairvoyance in order to make such a docking quickly and accurately." End quote. That is, those of you who want to take a free 48-hour trial testing of the PRK-1U online, Grigori Petrovich will also connect you to the PRK-1U individually. To do this, you need to send your first and last name as well as your date of birth. Send all requests by email elenadagons@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please send questions. If you will also be able to ask questions during the preparatory class. In this preparatory class, you will be told how to work on the PRK-1U device, what are the modes of operation on the device, what are the methods, and so on. And now the promised testimony of the person who passed the testing of the PRK-1U device and who was one of the first when the testing was carried out by Grigori Grabovoi himself. This is a woman, her name is Larissa. I'll just read her testimony. My impressions from testing on the device of concentration development PRK-1U. When I heard that Grigori Petrovich Grabovoi has developed a device PRK-1U, I immediately said to myself, I need it. So I tested the device amongst the first people. Ask yourself, why do I need this device? I answered this way. Now people don't need to be proved that consciousness determines being, objective reality, but not vice versa. So it is necessary to develop consciousness. The norm of being will be already a consequence of developed consciousness. What does the PRK-1U device do? It increases the speed of perception and control. That is, it increases the density of information, and the segment of light that is created during concentration is preserved for a long time. This means that the created information doesn't dissipate, so it can be compacted further and the implementation is faster. But the most important thing is the development of consciousness to a level where you can solve almost any tasks on your own. That is, it is a device to accelerate the development of consciousness. As soon as I realized this, I said to myself, I need it not only for myself, but also for my family members. When I passed the test, I felt that my capabilities of control had changed for the better. The first thing I felt was a surge of strength that persists for a long time. I took it as something that my consciousness acquired new possibilities. Do you remember how you felt when you were young? So, especially in the first days after testing, I felt much younger. And now I will tell you about 3 episodes of working with the device. This is the first feeling of concentration with the device. This is the work of changing the information of the past and the feeling of concentration on rejuvenation. Point 1. I formulated the control goal in advance. It was related to a certain area in my body. At first, I did the concentration without the device. Then, with the device turned on. To achieve my goal, I made circular movements of concentration from a lens of a smaller diameter counterclockwise through lenses of a larger diameter. At first, it seemed to me that there was no reaction of the device. After some time, a powerful luminous flow appeared. I kept working. And then I realized that the flow goes on its own and I don't need to make circular movements anymore. The device reinforced my thought and I continued to observe what was happening. I felt the positive result quite quickly. The pain is gone. Point number 2. I have formulated a control goal to work with the past. For me, it was important to try working with the past, since it is recommended to conduct a circular movement of concentration thoughts from the inside of the device and already clockwise. It's easy to work here for those people who have a good spatial representation. But I did it too. In my mind, I kept a point of the past that I wanted to change for the better. And at the same time, I imagined how the beam was unwinding, rising up from inside the device. And the concentration took place on the same three lenses located on the lid of the device. And again, the moment came when the luminous flow worked itself. I clearly determined when the device ended. Grigori Petrovich explained to me that the dosage worked so as not to crush a specific situation. That is, such a function is also embedded in the program of the device, and this is harmonious control with the help of the device. As a result of this concentration, I saw that the information of the past had changed. Although before working with the device, I hadn't been able to achieve significant results in normalizing this particular information of the past. Point number 3. I really like the work on rejuvenation. There are many methods of concentration on rejuvenation. But I have never experienced such a power of light radiation that I felt at the time of passing the test. I even felt pressure on my chest, as if the beam was entering there, inside. After concentration, it was easy to breathe, and there was a feeling of inner strength. Later on, um, later on the internet, I found information that in the place where I felt the rejuvenation ray, there is a thymus gland. It works very well for young people, but it just resolves with age. So the beam that was pressing on my chest was just shining at the place where the thymus gland should be. So its recovery was underway. Here is a short summary of what I wanted to tell you. I want to remind you that during concentration, the most important thing is to work on macro salvation and disbandment of even local catastrophes. Grigori Petrovich created such a device to accelerate the development of people's consciousness, to ensure eternal life for everyone. End quote. Thank you for your attention. That's all for today. Bye bye.